Fiddle again, and hello, it's Vo, and welcome to Magic Mondays. Last time we went over different types of cards. This time I'm going to show you a free and easy way to get into Magic the Gathering. Even if you have an opponent always at the ready and you have the cash to invest in a starter deck, I would still recommend downloading Duels. If you search for Magic Duels, either in Steam or on the App Store that's available from your console, you should be able to find it. Duels of the Planeswalkers games have been being made since 2012 as far as I can see, but these you have to pay for. Magic Duels is the only one that should be up there that's free. It's sometimes listed as Duels of the Planeswalkers. I'll now take you through a game and show you the basics. We'll just look in story mode to find an easy game, and I can take you through exactly what's involved in the game of Magic the Gathering. In Magic the Gathering, you and your opponent both start with 20 life points, and each of you draw 7 cards from your library. The person who goes first, as usually determined by a dice roll, doesn't get to draw a card on their first turn. If your hand doesn't seem playable, you have the option of redrawing either 7 new cards if you play the old mulligan rule, or 6 cards with the new mulligan rule, but you get to scry the top card, which means you get to choose whether you're going to draw that card first, or you get to put it on the bottom of your library. A good hand to see when drawing your first 7 cards would be 2 or 3 land, and some spells that you can play with those 2 or 3 land. In this instance we have 3 land, and we have a few things that we can do with them. So we're going to lay our first land. We should aim to lay 1 land per turn, and then we're going to play this creature as it has a cost of 1 white. Creatures can't attack on their first turn of play, and this is called Summoning Sickness, as indicated by an animation on the card. Because our opponent went second, they get to draw a card on their first turn. Our opponent has made a very similar move to us in their first turn by laying a plains and tapping it to get out a creature that costs only 1. Our second turn will be where we get to draw our first card, and the first thing we always want to do is add a land to our total. We could wait until after the combat step to lay our land, but we want to represent as much power as we can. As you can see, the game is highlighted for us that we can afford this next creature as it costs only 2. Now I have the option to attack with the first creature that I summoned last turn, but it doesn't have enough power to defeat the creature on the opponent's side. It has a greater toughness than my power, but it has a lower power than my toughness. This means that either creature could block the other without dying. I'll show you this by attacking in. If the damage dealt to creatures in combat isn't sufficient to kill the creature, that creature will heal up at the end of turn. Much like when you tap a land for mana to cast your spells, when your creatures attack, they get tapped, so they can't be used to block on your opponent's turn. Our opponent has taken a similar second turn, playing the second plains and a creature that costs 2. Ideally on turn 3 we'd pick up a creature that costs 3 to cast, so we can have maximum efficiency with playing out our hand. But in this instance we'll just have to drop a land and play the 2-drop again. When an opponent has 2 potential blockers, they can choose to defend individually, or they can choose to place both blockers in front of the attack to multi-block that creature. If the total power of the blocking creatures is greater than the toughness of the attacking creature will die. Our opponent is more efficient with their third turn, laying a creature that costs 3 to cast. This particular creature gives other soldiers +1/+0, buffing all the soldiers on our opponent's side. This effect is passive and will remain in play for as long as the card does. The effect applies to all soldiers on the opponent's side as soon as they enter the battlefield. Now in our fourth turn, we can lay our fourth land and play a creature that costs 4 to cast. The creature that we're holding in our hand that costs 4 is a flying creature. Flying creatures have an advantage over normal creatures, as in combat, only a creature with flying or reach can block a flying creature. This creature also has another ability that when it attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn. And that means instead of swinging in for 2, we'll be swinging in for 3 in the air. As always, this creature has summoning sickness, so it's not able to swing in this turn. And now that we have a game plan, we may as well keep these creatures back for defense and only attack with the flying creature when we're able. On our opponent's fourth turn, the AI again decides that it's not beneficial to attack, and they run out the same 1-drop that they first played. On turn 5 we draw another copy of the same flying creature, which we could run out to start gaining a better advantage in the air, but I think to be most efficient with spending our mana and to keep up our defences, we should run out this regular creature with a much higher toughness that should be able to block anything on the ground. So on this attack step, we're going to attack with just our flying creature, and you're going to see it gets +1/+1 till end of turn when it's attacking. Now when it makes it across to our opponent, because they don't have any flying creatures to block with, then you'll see their life is reduced by 3, taking them down to 17. Now all we need to do is take the other 17 life and move on the game. On their 5th turn, our opponent plays another creature, but it still doesn't have flying or reach. On our turn, we pick up another creature, but of course I think now is the time to lay the second flying creature, so we can start hitting for twice as much in the air. Again, we're going to attack him with that one flying creature to do another 3 damage and bring them down to 14. To do nothing with their turn and leave all their lands untapped, it's either that they have only 2 lands in their hand, cards that they can't otherwise cast, or a card that says destroy target attacking creature that they're waiting until our combat to play. We cast another creature because we can, and we want to keep our defenses up while we're swinging in with 2 attackers. Again, with untapped mana, our opponent could be waiting to play a spell on us here, but we're going to swing in anyway and see what happens. With their opponent down to 8, they really need to find an answer here, a way to either block our flying creatures or to destroy them entirely. Another veteran swordsmith here will buff our opponent's team, but they still won't be able to block our flyers. And at this point I don't think they could even swing in to do us lethal damage, because we have a blocking force. They can't just swing in and get us down to 0 from 20, swing in 6 at a time and kill them. here we can cast both of these creatures just to bolster the defenses in case they do go for one big swing. Then we can attack them with our 2 flying creatures, do our 6 damage, and wait for what should hopefully be the last sequence of turns. Again, no spells played in our combat, so this turn they're going to have to destroy both of our flying creatures, because even blocking one of them won't be enough to save them from death. And this creature looks like they're not going to be able to stop us. It's another defender, but not one that can stop our flying creatures. So now we just need to close out the game. I'm just going to attack with this one flying guy. If he's been saving the spell all the way till the end to destroy it, that's fine. If not, we've won. No, we've made it through and we've won. And that is how you play Magic the Gathering. This is the easiest way to get started without spending any money at all. It's free to download and it will help you learn the game. The deck that we used to defeat our opponent was a good example of a white deck, utilising lots of small creatures to try and overwhelm the opponent. Next time we'll have a look at the other colours and the type of cards we're likely to see in those decks. Until then, have a good one!